Hello and welcome to Perspectives. Joining me today is my guest, Sister Priscilla Solomon. She is a sister of St. Joseph. She is also Ojibwe, and she does a lot of work in inculturation and interculturation, concepts that are becoming very important right now in our church in Canada. First of all, thank you for being here today.
You're welcome.
As I mentioned, you do a lot of work on inculturation of faith, and you mentioned something called interculturation. Tell us about this work that you're doing.
Inculturation is essentially people of a particular culture searching out the roots of the gospel in their culture, or the seeds of the gospel in their own culture. What are the values, the teachings, the understandings within their own culture that enables them to receive the gospel, the good news of Jesus, into their culture and to live that gospel out of those same values and traditions, and it helps them to discern what is not compatible with the good news of Jesus Christ as well. So that's inculturation. That's a process I do in terms of my own Indigenous culture.
Okay.
So only the people of the given culture can inculturate their faith. Interculturation is a different process. And it is the dynamic interaction of the expression of the faith from different cultures, learning how they can work together and receive from each other and develop together in a new expression of faith.
For many people, when they hear talk of the residential schools, many non-Indigenous people, when they hear talk of the Indigenous schools and the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, the reaction is often, why are we still talking about this? And explain to us what kind of healing still needs to happen as a result of the past, let's say, malfunction in the relationship between the Church and Canada's Indigenous peoples.
The question, why are we still talking about it, is part of it has to do with the healing process of the people who experience the schools and of the intergenerational impacts on the children of those people. I'm the child of survivors, as are my siblings. Both my parents went to residential schools. They received much good. They also experienced some negative things. My family has experienced impacts from their experience that has affected us today. Some of the ability to converse with each other, to express anger, to express love, that has been a challenge within our family because our parents didn't have that experience. So there are intergenerational impacts in many, many families. We see that in the number of people today who suffer from alcoholism or family dissolution. So many impacts. I'm not going to talk about them all.
My last question for you, what do you see as the next steps in that healing process?
The next step, I think, is for us to trust that we are being guided in a work of reconciliation that is beyond our own capacity. It's beyond our own engineering. It's the work of God's Spirit, because we're all children of God. It's a work that God is calling us to enable us to be brothers and sisters to each other in a new way. So the next step, I think, is for us, for one thing, to pray for the openness, both Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal. Pray for the openness to this process. Pray for the desire to reconcile with each other and begin to dialogue.
Wonderful. There's so many more things I would love to ask you, but that's all the time we've got for this. Thank you so much for sharing this with us.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for joining us. If you are just watching on our television network, stay tuned for the rest of our programming schedule.